Hello, how the tech are you? This is our weekly tech show on Echoplex Media. I am historian Matt, and I'm joined here with producer Dave and HK Perrin, as it goes by often. We're just going to jump straight into stories. So, my first story is... I'm just calling it, please, Tesla, can I sell my Cybertruck? Have you guys heard about this yet?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw it on Facebook.
Yeah. So real quick, I'm going to go over some of the details, but basically, Cybertruck starts delivery later this month. So people who actually got it, did the pre-order stuff, they should start getting them in the mail or however they send them. I don't know. But there was a clause in the terms of service that is now deleted that said Tesla could sue owners for $50,000 if they sold the truck within the first year without first getting permission. The clause was removed shortly after people noticed it and reports began to spread online. But before the removal, Cybertruck buyers had to first offer the truck back to Tesla if they didn't want it anymore. And they had to, basically Tesla could either take it back, but if Tesla declined to take it back for whatever reason, the owner could resell the Cybertruck, but only if they received written consent from Tesla. So what do you guys think? I'm sure you guys are all eagerly awaiting for the Cybertruck to come out.
I like how you thought it was going to come in the mail.
Yeah.
So I see what they're doing. They're trying to keep people from scalping.
Yeah.
Saying oh, I've got a Cybertruck and I'll sell it to you for 2 times the market value. But I don't think enough people are going to want one of these that they'll be able to scalp.
It's surprisingly popular. I wouldn't think so. There's a lot of problems with the Cybertruck that I think
like a
when
small
we mentioned
hill.
it before, the problems in the design of the Cybertruck itself, but it does seem to be very popular. A lot
Didn't
of people
a whole bunch of people cancel their pre-orders though?
They still have a ton of pre-orders, and you have to look into who is canceling, because I know one of the guys I followed online, he's based out of Australia. He didn't cancel his, but he switched with somebody else to a later date because they weren't going to release it in Australia initially. So he has to wait anyway. So I think, looking into the reasons why they're canceling is important, but yeah, to me, it seems like it's still very popular.
Well, we'll see. This sounds almost like it's Cybertruck as a service, though, if you can't sell it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, it kind of is similar to what some other mainstream or legacy automakers would do with their really high-end cars. If you buy I don't know what high-end cars are. Was it, I guess, the Ford GT or something when that came back out? You couldn't sell it for the first year, or you'd have it's a very similar thing to what's going on with the Tesla truck. So they're kind of selling the Tesla truck as a super high-end vehicle when it's really not.
I know Ferrari has some stuff in your contract
Ferrari
when you buy a
that.
Ferrari, but I don't know too many people who buy a Ferrari and are I don't like this. So
somebody, I didn't write it down. There was somebody famous who just recently did the thing where they bought, I don't know if it was a Ferrari or what, but it was one of these high-end cars, sold it really early, and they got fined by the company that he bought it from for selling it before he was allowed to.
So I think that you're saying that this is popular, but I think when people start receiving this thing, it's kind of a piece of shit. And when people start receiving it and then they start publishing their, first of all, we're going to see a lot of interesting tech bro misadventures, right?
Yes,
this thing they're oh, I could just drive it across the river. Elon said so. It's wow, I watched a video of it struggling to get up a hill that a Toyota RAV4 seemed to have no problem getting up. So that's what I'm waiting for. But I think there could be a way in which once people start receiving it, and maybe it's people who were enthusiastic about it and they get it and they're this isn't a very good truck. Maybe people start canceling their pre-orders then, and it won't be as popular. I do see there maybe being a market where people, like, initially right at the beginning, where you could get it and double your money on it by selling it to some tech bro. But I'm like, generally I don't like this kind of stuff, because like, if you bought it, it's yours.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. And if somebody could buy it and like sell it for more, then why aren't you selling it for more initially? Right.
Right. Yeah, we'll see. Like I said, my hope is that I hope nobody gets hurt. Don't get me wrong, but I cannot wait for the there'll be like a Twitter account, like the misadventures of the Cybertruck or something. And it'll be a lot of fun. I guess they took the language out, and I think, like, with the demand as it is, I think that there's a low likelihood that most of the people that buy it will want to resell it, unless they hate it.
Yeah, unless it's like really bad, and that could definitely happen because it's a weird design and it's from a company that hasn't made trucks before.
And
so who knows?
And the design team didn't really like the design.
Yeah, that's
the things that I know my truck can do, like certain things I know my truck can move, I wouldn't be able to move those same kind of things in the Cybertruck because of the fucking slanted bed walls. I've never understood that. Like, trucks should not have slanted bed walls, period.
Didn't GM make one that everybody made fun of that had like slanted bed walls and it looked all plasticky?
Are you thinking of the Avalanche?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Avalanche was supposed to be like a truck that you could convert into an SUV, but it turns out to just be like a shitty truck in truck mode and a shitty SUV in SUV mode.
Right. And they're not even trying to do this with the Tesla, but I think I swear to you, the Cybertruck is just Elon's thing that he thinks is cool, right? That's just all that it is. And it doesn't look practical, but that's not really what we're talking about here. But I think the people that are like just really all about Tesla aren't going to be interested in selling it in the first year anyway, because they want it in their driveway. If it can make it up their driveway.
That's the important thing. Well, we know that it's, bulletproof. And I don't know if you've been watching some of these videos about it, but they also tested firing, bows and arrows at it. And it, stopped them just fine. Just in case you're ever in a medieval war or need to get through with your Cybertruck.
In case you ever need to rescue Friar Tuck.
Yeah, exactly.
Just don't drive it to a baseball game because it's definitely not baseball proof.
That's right.
Oh, man. All right. What do you got next, Matt?
All right. Give me a sec. So my second story, I just called ApeFest. And for fun, again, you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I know all about it because as a person who's thrown raves where there were powerful lights, we had to consider where do you point the lights?
Yeah, really. So if you're wondering what Dave's talking about, basically the Bored Ape creator says UV lights at ApeFest burned attendees' eyes and skin. ApeFest is a conference and party. I mean, kind of both, for people who own the Bored Ape NFTs. If you know anything about NFTs, you probably know about the Bored Ape NFTs or have seen it. It just looks like an ape. There was an image up earlier. They're just different versions of this head of an ape. I don't know. It was really popular. They sold for, I think some of them sold for almost millions of dollars. But this ApeFest was held in Hong Kong over 3 days during the first weekend in November. And they think that some ultraviolet lights set up in the corner of the event somewhere caused the problem. So, yeah, I was going to ask Dave, like, you probably know more of what happened here.
Yeah.
Is it wrong lights or is it wrong angled lights or what?
I mean, even just the lights I have here in the studio, you're not supposed to look right at them. And they're fairly low power. They're like each of the little circles in the, like the club style lights I have are like 1.5 or 2 watts. you're not supposed to look right at them if they're close, especially, but even if they're far away. I mean, I've gone down to like the light behind me. When I've gone to adjust it, I've accidentally looked at it, and it reminded me of that scene in Ghostbusters where he's like, "Don't look directly at the trap," and he's like, "I looked at the trap, Ray." And then there are this little bar of lights that are kind of stuck in my like field of vision, and these are low power lights. And I imagine at an event like this, the lights are much higher power, and you have to be like, when you're designing event spaces, you have to be kind of conscious of how many lumens the lights you have are putting off and where they're pointed. When you look at the stage, you're like, well, those lights are pointed sort of at the people, but the lights that are pointed up are generally pointed at people's knees, and then they just kind of, the rest of the light will wash out a little bit, and what gets on most of their body is the light having washed out, not the direct lighting. And they just, these are people who are stupid enough to buy these apes and promote them and think that this is some kind of investment opportunity. So they were probably stupid enough to think they could just kind of put the lights wherever.
Yeah.
I heard that it was not just that, but like these lights were the like medical grade ultraviolet lights that are meant to sterilize like surfaces and instruments and things, which you're not supposed to look at. That kind of UV light, the very high energy UV light, like it's the same kind that will give you a sunburn, and even higher energy than that. That will damage your eyes. And one thing that makes this like even more dangerous is you can't see that ultraviolet light, the ultraviolet light that's like so energetic that it could give you a sunburn, or even like more energetic than that. You can't see it visibly. So your eyes don't react to that light and shrink your pupils like they do in sunlight, where, if you walk out on a bright summer day and you're like out in bright sunlight, your eyes are going to shrink and you're going to get less ultraviolet radiation into your eyes. Whereas at a dark event like this that happened at night, where they've got like the only source of lights are these lights that are shining on stage, your eyes are probably going to be like wide open and accepting all that very bright ultraviolet light that you can't even see. I'm sure you could see some of it because these ultraviolet lights do glow in a visible light, but they put out a lot more radiation that you can't see than like visible radiation, visible light.
Yeah, I mean, the moral of the story here is hire professionals.
Yep.
Hire people who know what they're doing for your lighting and your sound, because you can, the lighting especially can, even not this particular kind of lighting, just stage lighting in general, you can do real damage to people's eyes with it if you're not like careful where it's pointed.
It's also the same reason you absolutely don't want to wear sunglasses that don't block UV light, because when you wear sunglasses, you're getting less visible light into your eyes. And if they don't block UV light, your eyes will dilate, your pupils will dilate to let more light in, and you'll be letting a lot more UV light in that can damage your eyes.
Yep, there we have it. I mean, it's not surprising. I feel bad for the people though, because some of this, hopefully it's temporary, but if they weren't getting like the feedback, basically, like that it was damaging their eyes, they might have looked at it for a long time.
So what I've read in this article that's linked there in the show notes, they said it's similar to something called welder's eye that I guess welders get if they don't take proper precaution when they're welding for their eyes. It can be permanently damaging, but most people they just recover by the next day or something. So they'll have vision issues, not necessarily blinded, but vision issues for, a day, and then they'll recover. They said it was sort of like getting a sunburn on your eye. I forget what part, it's not your cornea, but, a part of your eye there. And so just, if you recover fine, you should be fine if it didn't get exposed for too long. And probably because it was overnight, it wasn't that long, unless somebody was really, just staring at it all night.
And I mean, you never know. This is
that's true.
This is a bit of a rave style party. So somebody might have just stared at the light for 4 hours.
True. That would probably be not good.
Yeah.
And I was also confused. People apparently got, basically sunburns from it. So I'm guessing it was the wrong kind of light too, because they know there's different versions of UV light, and only one of them actually burned your skin.
They tried to pay the lighting people in Bored Apes, and so they couldn't get lighting people.
Now they can go home and say, I was blinded by all the excitement at the ApeFest. You're like, no, it was just the terrible lighting.
Yep, just terrible lighting. Again, just hire professionals. It's
other
safe.
So
go ahead.
This is like in Hong Kong, and I'm a little concerned. Like maybe they thought they hired professionals,
possibly. Possibly.
That's another issue, but a whole other area.
Anyway, the kind of people that this attracts, or who might throw this kind of event, they probably were like, "Oh, I know how to do this. Let's get the best. Let's get the most, the best, and the best, and the best, and the most, so that everything glows." Yeah. That's it.
Well, that's all I got.
Thank you for joining us. This has been How the Tech Are You, our weekly tech news show. If you'd like to check out our other shows, you can do that on echoplexmedia.com. And if you'd like to support us, you can do it on patreon.com/echoplex or eplex.store. Have a great tech week.